Subliminal messages can be intentional or not intentional. They come in many forms, and in cinematography, editing, music, and sound editing. You can also pick it up in the actor's gestures, whether it be dialogue or nonverbal signals. Described sometimes as foreshadowing, they're clues about events, moods, or lore. The director usually takes the credit or the blame for the messaging, even if it's indirect. For instance, the director takes inspiration from the screenwriter takes inspiration from the source material, the cinematographers have their idea to tell the story visually, the editor has their way of expressing their vision from the filming captured by the cinematographer, the sound editors can drop hints by adding or deleting tracks, then there is the music composer, who can manipulate the viewer's emotion and establish moods and tones. Many times the various messaging creates a harmonized theme, even if the individual pieces are coincidental. Unless you're Stanley Kubrick, then all subliminal messaging are deliberate and intentional. Reasons for having subliminal messages are many. Whether it is to get across a particular mood, defining a character, or hint something is very off about the in-film universe without spending precious time to spoon-feed you. The clues are subjective. This is why some viewers argue that a movie is only what the filmmakers intend it to be, consciously. If it's not seen or spelled out, it's unimportant. In my videos about 1408, I mentioned a few of these subliminal clues, how it foreshadows its play on time, and particularly the young mother with a vintage baby carriage. In this video, I'm going to focus on the young mother and discuss whether or not her presence answers some open questions about 1408. Keep in mind, my alternative theories mentioned within may cause anxiety, rage, or disbelief. But I hope that's why you're here. Make sure to leave a like, share, or subscribe if you enjoy this video and want to see more like this one. Subliminal messaging and foreshadowing come early in 1408. During the opening credits, we see the cigarette, the tape recorder, all inside a hotel room. This makes up Mike Enslin's character, even his propensity to drink. It's not a one-off and will be repeated in the future. His character is being defined in just a few short moments. However, I want you to pay attention to the editing, this case the use of jump cuts with a single fixed position camera. The jump cut is an editing technique to show non-linear passing of time. Sure, we can guess it had only been a few moments, seconds between dissolves, but we really don't know for sure. This too is a theme that will be revisited. Our sense of time will be played with. To those who have watched the film, the young mother is an important character. She's introduced in the hotel lobby when Enslin enters the Dolphin. First, in an extreme wide shot looking over the lobby. Again, in the very next cut in the background of a wide shot. After Mike checks in, the mother is in the foreground in her own wide shot. Her baby's cry is present when Olin walks past her and curiously cut off, when the scene pulls a match cut overhead. It may have been the editor's choice to cut sounds out from sources we cannot see. It is also coincidentally removed when Enslin is not alone. As we experienced just a moment prior, the questionable earthly origins of the bellman, who appears out of nowhere. When Mike is alone, awkward things happen. Back to the initial Enslin-Olin introduction, where the cinematography chooses to circle the two characters in 360 degrees. This accomplishes at least three things. 1. It demonstrates and foreshadows the conflict between the two with kinetic energy. 2. It puts the young mother in the background, perhaps a spiritual reminder of this could-be phantom. And 3. The camera technique itself, symbolizing the power of the room, is repeated later when Mike is returned to the hellish reality of 1408. The subliminal sequence is mimicked in order. We see the reveal of the bellman, Mike questions Olin's rules of the hotel, and the camera spins around him. Eventually, Mike is shown to his room. However, later in the film, we see the reveal of the bellman, Mike questions his rules of reality, the camera spins around him, and Mike is shown to his room. Even in the sanity in the lobby of the Dolphin Hotel, we get a mini tour of things to come. Did Mike cross the boundaries of room 1408 up in the ductwork? Was the hotel outside 1408 under the influence of the room? Was the lobby haunted? The key to these unanswered questions lie whether or not the young mother with the vintage baby carriage was a phantom. While she's in the background for atmospheric purposes, the mother earns direct attention later on the 14th floor from a distance and often in obfuscating camera angles. Since I believe the mystery of her character would have been just as effective if she had been first seen in the hall, I have my own rather alternative theory while she's spotted in the lobby first. It has everything to do with how she got to her door without being spotted earlier or using an elevator. Otherwise, the viewer could make up any story, or worse, never notice consciously. In a prior video, I posit if anyone stays on the 14th floor. One of the theories involved how neither elevators could have been available for the housekeeper who disappeared after a full circle. But the young mother did manage to appear, perhaps leaving our subconscious with an open question: how did she get there? But the 14th floor already began to mislead us. Were the sounds of guests we hear behind the doors in real time indicating living guests? Or were they Mike's imagination as he read through Olin's journal? This is a clever play on editing, taunting our trust, associating sights with sounds. However, the story only began twisting the truth with imaginary experiences. We do hear the baby's cry from behind the wall. We don't know if the baby's cry is genuine, but supernaturally amplified in Mike's room, or completely in his head. Other examples are the woman's voice on the other side of the phone, and seeing his reflection that isn't exactly honest shows the lies the room is capable of. One example worthy of debate is Mike's crawl through the air duct. Here he experiences two things. He's above the room next door, sees a vision of a young mother in white, who turns out to be a younger Lily. While I believe the conversation he eavesdropped on was a genuine reproduction of the past, word by word, I don't believe it was a form of time travel, and Lily looked up to the ceiling some 11 years earlier. What is a viewer to think? Was the young mother Lily all along? The script points in that direction. Or were there two young mothers, the hotel guest of the present and the vision of Lily from the past? If the young Lily was an imaginary vision inspired by the young mother, does this mean the room's evil energies occupied other spaces on the floor or the hotel? We see Mike physically transverse above and beyond his room. He has a second vision of one with his father. Again, I think it was a reproduction up until his father stares at him through the vents. Mike returns to his room, but did he really leave in the first place? If the answer is yes, then we can assume other places of the hotel are haunted. There are other characters, other ghosts, whether they are doppelgangers, annoying bellmen, or past victims of the room. They are not uncommon, as we see several. If you believe the young mother was not a phantom, there is collaborating evidence. However, if you believe she was one of many supernatural elements, there is collaborating evidence. In the same prior video, I mentioned an unwritten rule in storytelling. If the safety of a mother and child are in jeopardy, it is almost obligatory to show them safe and well, explicitly and without ambiguity. But 1408 does not do this. For viewers who are one and done and don't believe in hitting the pause button, you'd go on thinking the mother was a phantom all along. But, having watched the film many times with the pause button under my thumb, we see the young mother in white carrying her child. Without a doubt, that is her. Either an innocent guest staying on the much maligned 14th floor, or it's a ghost rushing to safety by means of taking the stairs. This is a late example of a subliminal message, whether because a scene or close-up was dropped from the final cut, or the director or first AD called for the entire hotel cast to create an exodus without yet deciding the earthly status of the mom. Since I don't carry cliff notes on a movie's production while I watch it, I let myself decide how I interpret the lore. In this case, it was a little too subtle, and not everyone, me included, didn't pick up on this the first time watching. Does the young mother prove supernatural elements reach beyond room 1408? I think so, but she doesn't have to be a ghost to show it. Let me know in the comments below, who was your favorite supernatural entity? This is Mr. Giasenji saying, I have never had a digital clock in my hotel room that I liked. Check out other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching.